officially. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Market Watch Group Wednesday Market Midpoint. My name is Scott. I will be your host. As always, I need to remind you that what we do is for education and illustrative purposes only. Nothing we do or say should be considered or construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any financial security or product. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. Okay. Let's get to what we will do. We will evaluate today's market on the open. We will revisit the market posture a couple of days in. Mindset for open trades, we'll look at that. We will review any potential setups. I do think the market is still showing us plenty of opportunity. And lastly, we'll talk about trading plan section of the week. Let's get into it. Okay. What's happening? Is this up to date? Let's just see real quickly here. Okay, futures weren't looking so good over last night, and then this morning, 0.18 for the S&P, 0.30 for the Dow. The Nasdaq's kind of flat at 0.05. Russell's 0.5%. And what's the rationale here? U.S. producer prices unexpectedly cool despite tariff worries. Let me see if we have updates on that. So let's just kind of chat through. Is this up to date? Let me make sure. So yesterday's numbers, we didn't get a chance to process them last night as I was rushed in my session. As expected, but higher. As expected, but higher. Beat expectations. Higher, but not as high as expectations dictated. Then we have core year over year. Higher, but not as much as expectations. So it's a reasonable report. We said the market should be okay with something like that. Then we go to today's information. Scroll on down. We were expecting it to come down a little, and we were expecting it to rise, but only at 0.2. It actually was flat. Year over year came down. PPI year over year came down. So yeah, that's certainly giving the markets reason to reevaluate their reaction to yesterday. And at this point, we're seeing some bullishness showing up in the market again here. So that's favorable. I said I was open to it. I said the market has had some missteps in how it evaluated tariffs. Give me your thoughts. I still don't think it's enough. Let's see if this is adapted. I still don't think it's enough to expect much different from the Fed, much different than what we've been seeing. But let's Let's take a look. Give me your thoughts. As you saw that report, did you think, yeah, definitely September? Did you think, still not enough? I want to hear from the crew here. Where are we all on the interest rate speculation train? What stop are we getting off at? July, unchanged. Where are we? We're a week away, right? 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. September. Ooh. Yeah, David Wilson said no July change. And in fact, in September, we were 2-1 for a while. And now it's easing back, and it's more like only 1-1 in here. And so I don't know. Waiting September, no change. Waiting for tariff impact. I think it maybe even got a little less. I think it even got just a teeny bit less as far as the odds for it. It's getting closer and closer to 50-50. That's the first clear sign. But I agree with you, David, that we need another month of tariff information because this is not enough. I have seen a couple of sub and regional chair peoples start to say maybe we could look at it, but I believe the consensus is still pushing towards patience. So there you go. Okay, let's take a look. At the futures. And there it is. We're kind of pushing into a bit of a basing pattern. What do I mean by that? Oh, yeah, blue. That'll work. So we have this kind of tight basing range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're at 2 weeks. Yep, we're up about, you can see here, 0.21. At one point last night, you can see it got down. But even when it was down, it only came down to the bottom of that basing range. So even when people were like, I don't know, it still was maintaining this. So here the question is, now keep in mind that these are touches at highs. Even on Tuesday we tested into a new high. So these are testing in highs. The distance of this range is not even 100 points. Very tight. What's the thought process here? Well, this is a consolidation, right? The sellers theoretically have had the floor since maybe we could say that this is not much, but let's go. I'm going to put a red line there. Let's say this was when the sellers really kind of turned it over, right there. The sellers took the floor. In that little, if you're looking down at the stochastics, those two blue lines. That's where we just sort of were watching the buying pressure starting to ease. And if you look at it, it wasn't until this day. This is the 7th. So that's when the sellers sort of took the floor, it looked like, and then they didn't. And then they tried, and then no, and then they tried, and then no. So here's this little back and forth showing what? A significant lack of selling pressure on behalf of the sellers. They just have done hardly anything, which is opening the door for the buyers, although the buyers are waiting for a little bit more information, right? Waiting for just a little bit more information, it seems. Okay. We still have things moving. We still have things setting up. We still have to be ready to trade because we don't just predict when a basing pattern breakout is going to occur. Give me your thoughts on that. Where do you see it? Where do you stand? Okay, let's keep going. Let's go transition to the SPY. Then we'll look at the VIX, and then we'll just see where it puts us. Okay, SPY. It was a different type of day on Tuesday where it opened higher and sold off, but so we kind of engulfed, and from the engulfing pattern, now we're moving into more of a inside day or harami pattern. Again, illustrating the basing pattern that we're seeing shaping up here. Okay, let's keep going. And get to the watch list. What are we looking for today? Definitely a little bit of chop, but it's not a real high volatility chop, right? It's back and forth. Can't seem to really make up its mind, but at the same time, it's also not the amplitude of the chop is pretty minimal. Definite uncertainty here. The market wants to break out. It would love this market if we would just take tariffs off the table. I mean, do we feel like we're getting better deals with any countries because of this? I don't know. And is it worth whatever, downside is? It's hard to know those answers. Volume is definitely undecided. That's a great point. Let me bring this up a little bit. And let me move this back to just 7 days so we can get more area. Okay. We're watching the volume settle for sure. This data here will all fall off the list or the evaluation for next week. What will stick around? We've got maybe this day here. Let's keep looking. 1, 2. Then that leaves us with these 3 days. And this one, and remember, this was an asterisk day because the market that day was actually a half day. And so even though the volume didn't make it, because this was half day volume, it was actually pretty significant. But it's decreasing, and so we're definitely seeing that the shift is there. That the volume did this to get us there, right? That was why we considered that to be significant. This passage was ushered in by an increase in volume. Great. Very favorable. But now we're just in a little bit of a pause. Okay. Got to be ready for it to break out. Let's look at the VIX. Because the VIX, and there we go. Why am I excited about the VIX? Potentially. Because we said this was a high, but it was a lower high than this one back here. Then we dropped to a lower low down into the 15s. Loved seeing that. That was exciting. Let's put a little heart there. Yay, we love that. I know you were like, what? We get animations and graphics today? Of course we do. You're like, that doesn't look like a heart. It looks like a weird bee. Then we went up. And we hit this. Again, people say, well, Scott, are you looking at the shadows or the bodies? And some people call them wicks. I know it's weird. They call them candles, and then they're like the shadows or wick, whichever you want to use is appropriate. And when they say that, I say yes. I'm pretty okay with some fluidity. Like that's the highest, that's the body. To me, this is lower, and if we finish here or even a little bit lower, then I'm going to say that's the turn, and that becomes a lower high, and if that would be something we would score, right? That would be something that we score in this week's posture. So I think this is setting up for a bump. The short term obviously is not. The short term is doing nothing that would improve the market posture. The long term, clearly not. Right? The volume, clearly not. In fact, volume is getting ready to start declining because we now have had 10 days without any increased volume. So that means that our ability to analyze, to collect data points is diminishing. So then where do we expect points to come on our scoring to get us into that hallowed 6 territory and starting to touch a 7 that we haven't seen since before Christmas? We need the VIX to give us some more. We have room for the major market to give us some more. And we definitely would need, obviously, if we're going to keep scoring the market better, then the market needs to break out again. So we would need to see that eventually happen. But we can be patient waiting for that for sure. Questions or comments about the VIX? Let me know. Let's get back out. Let's go find some trades. Let's see if we can't find some trades. Apple. Stochastics is down here, starting to turn. Now, you might wonder if I'm going to need it to get above this shadow, and my answer is no. I'm quite okay if it gets above this. This is kind of the bottom one. That was the lowest. This candle, the body was an inside candle. And if anything, the buyers tried to push up a little bit, and they didn't. And so if we close, I would say definitely above the body. 210. Maybe I want it above here. 210.93. So we're right around the area where this would look pretty good. So I'm watching that. MP. I'll take a look when we get there. Amazon still kind of deciding, right? This one looks like it may be trying to roll over. It's overbought. Had a hard time from this level. APH. APH is pinching, but I'm not giving up hope yet. I am not giving up hope yet. We'll see, but if it does start to, then we'll get out of there. BAC reported earnings. They were looking for 89. They got 89. It's kind of sitting here. Yeah. I would actually say this is a nice... If we come in and then turn post earnings, I'm watching. Financials looking okay. Caterpillar. Ooh, it's kind of consolidating sideways. CLS. Okay, this might actually be a real consolidation that we could then trade into. We'll keep an eye on that. CNM, this is new out of the industrial sector. Again, we did a search Monday night. Went well. We're going to probably do another search or two on Thursday night, tomorrow night, if you want to show up for that. Great looking setup. Nice look at this trend. Strong trend since April. Continuing to make higher highs, higher lows. Looks good. COF. Setting up. I don't know if we're going to have time. I don't know if we'll have time. Cisco setting up. Looking pretty good here. Looking pretty good here. What are we waiting for? Waiting for the turn. Waiting for the cross on the turn. Here's the Dow. Still looks fine. Still looks bullish. EA. Okay, so EA at this point. It broke the 50, but not with volume. There was no volume on the break. Our last, we had one here and then maybe one here. And you can see that this would be a higher low. How would I view this? Definite target at 160, and maybe it would be able to get through here and pop a little higher. We'll keep an eye on this and see. GE is new. GE is a little overextended. Earnings are before market tomorrow. Yeah, there's nothing you can do with that. Right? Nothing you can do with that. GE Vernova. Very similar. You can see it's overextended. We're well up on our stochastics. The last trade here was back in this area. And it's made this move, and now it's looking like it's running out of steam. Gold is choppy. It's a funny thing, right? Because gold had this last big move, and then since that, just couldn't get higher, and then it worked its way back up, and just can't seem to figure it out. Google. I mean, if you traded this, a little bit of profit there. It's not really getting moving per se. Though it's moving better than Meta. Yeah, a little bit of tenuousness in the communication services space. Here's Goldman. Goldman reported expecting 982. They got 1091. They beat expectations. And the constant question is, well, then why are they selling off? Remember that the reports are about two things. What did you do? What are you projecting? So they said, oh, yeah, we beat expectations. But what are you looking for next? And whatever they were looking for next wasn't quite as, strong. Yeah, exactly. Press forward earnings, forward the forecast. What is the guidance now as you look forward? Because like a lot of other people, when investors hear but, they don't hear anything but what comes after. So if a company says, we beat our earnings expectations, but we're looking for a slowdown and blah, all they heard was but, and they're like, oh, I don't know about that. I'm out of here. Okay. Hood. Strong, overextended, not really an opportunity in there for us right now. Though there's time before earnings. Howmet's on. Looks fine. We got a strong, better than expected move here. You can see it's kind of tapered off and we're at our momentum line. I don't want to see it cross through here because that's not good. So let's see if this thing can find its trajectory again. We're going to be patient with it. IBM. We went anticipatory in order to beat the earnings. Now here's what's happening. It's the same support level. It hasn't started moving yet. The problem now is, even if it starts, what's going to happen? We have to lower expectations. Is that about right there? Yes. We don't have time before earnings to get what we maybe thought we could. Still a good trade if we can get this. Still has to get going to do it. You'll notice the last time it gave a signal and then it hiccuped, and then it took off. Okay, well, let's see. What am I expecting? You can see that the implied volatility is here. It's likely to actually even push a little higher. So here it went up. This was a little bit more, market related. But we would definitely expect implied volatility to push. What am I not going to let it do? If it breaks down here, I'm done. Nice try, buddy, but you're out. IWM, small caps look fine. Small caps, this is the one we said, oh, we should probably made this nice move. Now it's pulling back. Nice opportunity anywhere in this range, right? For us to think about that trade. That's how I won't really look to pick individual small caps. My thought is always to play in the IWM if I want to play options. Okay. Here's a new one. Oh, we picked this up on our watch list. We picked this up on our watch list on our search Monday. And then it did this, and now it's doing this. So I don't even know what the Joby Aviation. Okay. If only we could have seen one of these. Right? Press? I mean, come on. I feel like was like, we should do a search in industrials, and the group was like, no, Scott, we shouldn't do that. I don't know why you guys talked me out of that one. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we should have done that search would have shown up. I tell you that. We got to be. I'm gonna default to Press's advice that he put in earlier in the chat. If you scroll up about 10 minutes ago, he said, "Too hot right now." I could even just be like, "Hey, Press, what do you think about JOBY?" And then I could read his comment. Too hot right now, waiting for a better buy-in, a pullback. Otherwise, I'm too late in chasing. Oh my God, thank you for the assessment, Press. That was amazing. You know what? I've actually seen like a human. I've seen a human drone. Have you seen that? Like a personal, your own little mini helicopter type thing. And I absolutely want one. They're like, it's gonna be amazing. Okay, let's keep going. Let's find us something here. Southwest Airlines, bullish but overextended. Meta could be the end for me here. There's a chance some of you have already called it. I'm going to let it recover the day, but this is looking like a failure. And remember what I said, when my market posture improves, I'm reticent to take losses. I'm not going to take losses easily because we've seen what happens in these kinds of markets. Think back when we were this score in November and December to any trades where you took a loss and then a week later you're like, there it is, doing exactly what I thought. Just a little late. So I want to give it a better window of time to be like, yeah, no, this was the right call. I don't love the way this looks today, but I'm going to see if it can recover. If it can recover, we'll go. If not, if this is how it looks at the end of the day, done. Okay. Morgan Stanley. You can see Morgan Stanley's earnings. So what happened? They expected 201. They got 213. They beat expectations. But there was a but. And the market's not liking the but. However, they heard GS's, right? There is that, Press. There is definitely that sector, sector empathy, essentially. But if this thing stabilizes in here and then starts to turn, all is well. We'll come out of it fine. We'll see what happens there. Microsoft pulling back. Maybe actually going to give a consolidation. Micron fell apart. But that happened back here 3 days ago. Very nice. Oh, let me look at MP. 10K trade. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, yeah, look. Yeah, this is a tough one. Quite honestly, this was anticipatory to get in down here to some extent. Stochastics was turning, but we don't typically go on stochastics. In fact, if anything, we go on price when we're waiting for stochastics. Though the IBM trade, we didn't go on price or stochastics because why? It's anticipatory. So in this one here, it had the initial momentum, pulled back, hit the 50. It's at support. And if you think to yourself, you know what? That stochastics is going, I'm going to go ahead and put it on. Then what? Well, then some news came out. Exactly. And then we got the gap. Not a typical trade at all. I agree. But if this was something that you had been watching, thinking about it, but yeah, this was pure news driven. And then it sat for a couple and then some more news. And now it's sitting for a little bit. I'm with Press. And I don't even know. I don't know. It's feeling fairly parabolic at this point. We used to affectionately call a parabolic move a shark frenzy. What shark frenzies up does have tendencies to shark frenzy down. I'm just saying. When they go parabolic, it's hard to sustain. Now, if it's supported by government money, well, that could do it. Government's got deep pockets, so that certainly has sustainability if it's backed by Uncle Sam. Agreed. Here we go for Netflix. Netflix reports earnings tomorrow. And you might think, oh, this looks great. It's right here at support. Stochastics is trying to turn. Yeah, but you got earnings. Earnings can be crazy on Netflix. Gap through it. It can be huge. Nvidia pausing after yesterday's big move. PLTR pausing after 2 days ago, big move. Plenty of time to be taking profits on this one. Glenn put out a follow-up alert to this. It's good. Hit its first target, but not its second. So the question is how to manage. Hike and Ashley look great. Just keep following this thing up. If you went to the 4 hour, you'd probably be out already. Oh, maybe not. You'd be tighter and tighter. So if you're really looking to keep profits, move your stop according to the 4 hour. If you're wanting to give it a little bit more space, then use it on the daily. QQQ, nothing. Roblox, come on, Roblox. Pretty sure we got our target. Here, let me move this out of the way. Alerts. $113.50, and we are at $114.06. So we reached the take profit in this area. Beautiful trade, perfection on the day that we forecasted according to our line. Beautiful. Who's in it or was in it? Did anybody take the rest of their profit this morning when you hit the level? Give me a readout on this one. That worked out quite well. We've been doing well with Roblox. It's a good one. I don't see Miguel here. I think Miguel. Anyone else? Let's keep going. Reddit, new. Reddit's new. Reddit's one we followed before and then kind of died on the vine over here. But maybe a setup developing. We're going to be patient and see. Rocket Lab was on our list. Got kicked off. I'm thinking, why would you kick that off? Well, I kicked it off back here because look at it. It looked like trash. Somebody should have told me when it busted above here and got to this point. Is that, you know? But here we are. We're watching it again, and we'll see if we get some momentum out of it. Thank you, Sandy. I accept your apology. Apology accepted. All is forgiven. Just next time, tell me, you guys. Come on. I want to know. RTX. I think it's kind of calling it to the end. It got defense stocks could definitely have opportunity again. I think that the RTX benefited from that. I'm trying to think. This thing took a little longer. Oh, I keep forgetting that RTX was like a informal trade. I didn't put the alert out. But I think we might be seeing the end. I'm looking to book the rest of my gains on that one. Call it a day. Look for a flag or a short-term pullback, and then let's go for another ride. Okay. Ooh, gosh, I'm almost at time. I'm also almost at the end of my watch list, so that's good. If you didn't hear, we are going to search 2 more sectors. On Thursday, we got 5 new industrial stocks, so there's probably going to be 8 to 10 more new stocks coming. Then I will post the updated watch list all at once, and then that'll probably be it for at least a few weeks. We don't just spend a lot of time searching and curating our watch list. We want to be efficient in that process. But yeah, this looks good. SPY down from its open, but still in its basing range. Tesla trying to do something, I guess. TSM earnings coming out here soon. Uber, there's no above average volume. So I'm actually going to look at Uber and I'm going to think anything in here is valid. If it starts to slow down and then turn out of it, I probably should have made my box bigger. Works for me. Bullish dollar index, dollar getting a little stronger. Nothing that's going to put downward pressure on the market yet. If it gets up towards like this level here, let's call it 29, and then some, then we'll be like, whoa, hey, this is going to make it harder on the dollar. Visa, so let's keep an eye on this because this broke our consolidation line, got to this new high, took out this old high here. Now it's pulling back and looking at potentially a higher low. Yeah, I think it could try to make a run for 370, 375 if it turns around here. So I'm looking. Credit's going nowhere. This is America. There will be plenty of money spent on credit. We know that. VIX. Okay, so it's not there yet. I want you to notice that what we defined as helping create the lower high, it's not happening. It's back up in this area here. So we needed to come down, probably I'd say below this level. As of now, it's not. Walmart, it's too sideways. There's no interest for me. Lastly, certainly not leastly, let's go into the trading plan. And we are in section 2 this week, which is market forecasting. So you should have your routines written. What charts, what's the read, what's the analysis. Doesn't have to be long, a sentence or 2. Then we have posture. What is the posture? What does developing that mean? What do we do with it? Trading postures in here. Kami's knocking it out, he said. Very nice. Implications here. This is a tough section sometimes, right? Because you're doing it. You're watching me do it. You're participating in it. We're all talking about it. But when it comes to just actually writing a bit of a technical instruction manual, you're like, sometimes it's easy to be like, oh, am I writing this right? This would be a good one to just go download the sample plan that we put together for you and just be like, okay, what did they, don't reinvent the wheel. Just get in there, make sure it all makes sense to you, change it to your words, put it in your plan, and then refine it later. That's a great way to go. This is one that over the last 15 years, whenever I hear from or connect with an old student or trader that I worked with, inevitably, one of the questions they had asked me is, well, what's your posture right now? And it's a standardized, at least amongst us, if I tell them my score, they're going to have a pretty good idea of how I see the market, right? Just like here. When we get this standardized, it makes it so much easier for us to speak about the market, to align on things, and then to say, okay, what strategies and tactics and trade ideas make sense based on the posture that we have. Sandy's right. It's a continuous work. Kami said that's exactly what I did. Work smarter, not harder. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. Thank you for the extra 4 minutes. Any questions, comments, or concerns before we wrap this up? Keep in mind, Glenn will be here for the last hour to wrap up today. And then we'll have our standard foundations working sessions tomorrow evening. Mine's going to be dedicated to searching and expanding our watch lists as we watch our market posture moving into the fives. I want to make sure that the watch list is as strong as it can possibly be. Loved the discussions going on in the chat during the course of today. Keep them up. Take them to the circle and let's keep the chats going in there, right? Let's continue to build that resource, that community resource, and strengthen it. Good to see you all. Let's go make some money. That's great advice. Thank you. Thank you, David Wilson. Appreciate it. And back at you, everybody. Happy trading.